on Friday with a mix of sun and clouds and highs in the low to mid-70s. That's weather on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. It's 59 right now.
And it's Wednesday. It's the noon hour. That means it's time for Senior Talk. Brought to you by Tammy Rowe Senior Benefits. And here's your host, Rex Brandstatter.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is time for Senior Talk, and this is a Senior Talking. How's that doing for you today? What a great day it is, May the 13th on a Wednesday. Just a perfect day to sit back, take a little time out of your lunch, your day, and sit back, have a lunch, have a sandwich and a root beer, and see what we can't do. And I would just welcome you to Senior Talk, what I call the weekly radio program dedicated to, I call it identifying and examining and sharing important and timely. You'll see some timely information here just shortly. Information for seniors, and totally always my pleasure to have you spend a few moments of your busy day with me here today. I'll do my very best on a weekly scenario, kind of as a schedule, to put together some pertinent senior information. Not all of it will stick to everybody, of course, but along with it, along with some fun recollections and the people of the past and the places. And I think I've got cooked up some pretty good stuff here today. We'll see what you think, and you can only call me if you like it. How's that sound? Well, my name is Rex Brandstatter. I'm 70 years old. I'm in that age group that when you fill things out on your age, if you're filling things out as 65 and above, I have to click that. Or it just says above. You don't. We're like toast. We're in that bracket, and I'm also in that bracket, as many of you are listening, and as being the most susceptible to this crazy virus type thing. So we all have to kind of watch it. And I'm not trusting you. I don't even think about you guys, because I know you're doing what you can to stay safe and be safe, to protect yourself from others and to others. That's the whole thing here. I'm on Medicare just like you all, and I'm getting tired of watching cable TV and this Medicare big ad that comes on all the time. Folks, that's not Medicare. That is not Medicare. And the teeny tiny stuff print, it says they're not associated with Medicare, so just look out. They're just trying to sell you insurance. As a matter of fact, if you go up to your TV and read that fine print before they get rid of it, you will be contacted by an insurance agent. So they use a red, white, and blue sign like it's from the government. It's not. That's a come on, don't. Do it. I'm not going to say don't call me. You do whatever you wish, but they're trying to sell you your 20% gap insurance. And remember now, you can buy that, but you can only change it a certain time of the year, and that's from October 1st to December 7th. So just be careful what you're doing. And the other thing I should tell you about that is when you're talking, I'm not saying that's a scam. I don't mean that, but I would tell you that don't answer your phone. The government's not going to call you. The Social Security Administration is not going to call you. They're not going to send you an email. That's not the way they do business. The IRS is not going to call you. They're not going to send you any kind of an email. Do not respond. The graphics will look like it's from whatever department of the government. It's not them. They don't do business on the phone. They do not do business with you on the internet. Do not answer those. Don't click on it. Well, Rex clicked right on it. It said the Social Security Administration official logo. Listen to these words. It's fake news. Absolutely fake. Do not do that. We are seniors. They're out for us especially. They figure we don't know what we're doing. We don't know if we're coming or going. That's true in a lot of cases. My wife would say that'd be true in my case sometimes. But just stay away. If you get a call on your telephone at home saying this is Bob from Mr. Smith and there's been a warrant out because you didn't turn in your IRS, don't go there. Just hang up. Don't let anybody intrude onto your life. Do not do that, all right? If you know who you're talking to, that's one thing. If you don't even answer. Let them leave a message. They'll call you back if they want you, and you don't ever talk to them. That's the scoop. I'm just trying to look out for everybody's safety here. And now if you won the lucky drawing and you don't answer. Matter of fact, I've got a scenario for that. When I was a kid, Channel 7, KWWL and Cedar Rapids had something called Lucky 7. And I don't remember really what it was about it, but if you answer the phone Lucky 7 during a certain period of time during the day, that you would win, I think it was like an 8-pack of 7-Up with the big tall bottles, and $20, and a gift certificate for $10 to McDonald's or something. I mean, it was a big deal. So what they would do is they would draw the name out on TV live, like at 4 o'clock, and say, we're going to call Joe Dokes in Gowrie, Iowa. Well, one day they pulled out my mom's name. She sent this in. We're going to call Mary Bell Brandstatter in Coralville, Iowa. And so she answered the phone, hello, instead of Lucky 7. They told her they were going to call her and say, oh, we're sorry, Mrs. Brandstatter, you didn't win today. And so that's how that goes. So anyhow, we knew they were going to call. We still screwed it up. Well, in this case, don't answer your phone. Well, I've been a licensed real estate broker here in Coralville, in Iowa City, in the state of Iowa since 1974, helping lots and lots of people buy homes, sell homes, investment properties, commercial properties, trade on a Section 1031 tax delayed exchange, which sounds complicated, but it's not. That would be if you want to sell an investment property, any property in which you do not live. That investment property could be a vacant lot that you own in Florida, could be a duplex you own in Tiffin, could be a 12-plex you own in Iowa City, or anything like that. Any investment property where you don't live, you can sell it and not pay tax. Well, wait a minute, Rex, how do you do that? Yes, you can sell it, but the other part of the little equation is you have to buy something else. And when you sell the property, say you have a duplex, got a nice duplex in Coralville, and you're tired of it, you want to go buy something else. You just sell the one in Coralville, you put the money into an escrow, which is all done with paperwork, and then you have a certain amount of time, 45 days to pick something else out, and 180 days to buy something else. Voila, no tax. You basically stall off your income tax, your capital gains tax until down the road farther. And there's a lot of scenarios there. But yes, you can say, I help people with that. I work with trust departments of banks. I work with executors for estates, powers of attorneys. I meet with lots and lots of seniors at their homes. And I'm going to say coffee shop, but haven't been able to do that lately. But the governor made a big announcement just about an hour ago. So that's what it is. That's what I do. And I provide a senior line if you just like to sit down and talk. If you need to know what the value of your home is, that you're doing some research for maybe your planning and things like that, well, you can just give me a call. I'm at 319-330-5534, 330-5534, and my email is rex@rexrb.com. Pretty easy. REX RB as in boy.com. Rex@rexrb.com if you'd like to talk in one old fashion or the other. Well, you may be retired, long retired, close to retirement, 20 years from retirement. But some of the things we might cover here on Senior Talk bodes well for any age groups, especially when the goal that we're all set up with, the goal that we all strive for is someday, whether you're in your 30s and can put it all together, your 40s, your 50s, or by the time you're 60 or 70, I would say you better have it all put together for the most part. Certainly not ruling out the fact that you might want to work and maybe have to work, need to work. But for the most part, you should have had a plan all along. So the younger you are, the younger you can put some things together for your planning. All right. I should tell you that on my way down to the KCJJ studios on the south edge of Iowa City, a few cornfields out there, the itty-bitty corn plants are up. I mean, they're up about an inch and a half. That would be too kind at an inch and a half. They're a little bit, you can see the rows. So this is Iowa, and it just feels good and comfortable to know that our farmer buddies are out there, and men and women, and they're out there doing their thing. And it's just refreshing to know that we're in Iowa and the corn's growing. It just seems more refreshing than ever, I guess, because of all the baloney we've been going through. And I don't mean baloney, all the things that challenge. How's that? Well, life does go on with all the stuff we're experiencing. And the interesting thing is, what I found with my friends, that everybody has a routine. And kind of got a routine going, which is, to like it or not, that's what's going. And we seem to be, all the people I work with, and not that everybody likes it, but we seem to be adapting, and whether unwilling or willing, but we all need to know that things are going to get back to, quote, normal. Now, the definition of normal may change, but we will be back with things. Now, let's talk about that for a minute. The governor of Iowa, just an hour ago, announced that, I didn't catch all of it, but the restaurants and barbershops and salons and massage parlors can reopen as of this Friday, May 15th. So day after tomorrow, they're going to open. Whether or not anybody goes, I don't know. And part of their rules that they have to open up like a restaurant. For what I heard, the standard thing that the servers have to have a mask on, and well, more than likely, maybe some of the customers were too, and the tables or chairs have to be 6 feet apart. Things that, quote, make sense during all this. All right. And so I think you'll see the Iowa entrepreneur, the Iowa businessman, the Iowa businesswoman doing what we've been doing for the last 2 months, is working within these restraints, or a month, whatever. Yeah, 2 months. I think we're going to do quite well. It's going to be a kind of a slow boat for a lot of businesses if they're able to come back. And I know some of them are right on the brink. Personally, I can just tell you right now. So this is a good thing as long as we all seem to take our role and practice what we do. And number one deal on this, you're looking out for yourself. And number two, you're looking out for anybody who might be around you for that. So that's a pretty good deal. And a trade-off for that, we get to have businesses opening. Speaking of opening, here's big news for that the Iowa City landfill will be reopening on Monday the 18th. Now, at the present time, Acme Sanitation Company, they can take their trucks out there, like picking up dumpsters and things like that. And you have to even think things like that through. I'll bet they're not running as many times to the dump because there aren't any restaurants open, bars open, places open, as many businesses open to create garbage. So even the refuse guys probably haven't been working as much. I don't know this. I'm just thinking. But anyhow, next Monday the 18th, the Iowa City landfill will open. Presently, you can go there if you live out in the county. In other words, not in the city, not in Lone Tree. So my friends in Lone Tree, you cannot go. I can't go there. If you live out in the county and not in the city limits, you can go there today. All right. So Monday morning, you can load up and go to the dump. How's that sound? Wow, these little things add up. All these things that we've kind of been through. Well, I was reading an article by a financial planner the other day, and she said, if you can weather this storm and meet your financial obligations by not raiding your retirement funds, by not raiding much or any of your savings, you will be fine. And I think that's been a pretty good goal for people, not touching your retirement. If you had a choice, raise your hands here. I'm going to ask a quiz here. If you listen, raise your hands. Would you, if you needed money and you have the money, would you, number one, raise your hands if you take it out of your 401k or retirement? Let's see some hands. All right. Not as many. That's good. Or how many of you would just say, I need 5,000, 10,000? How many of you would rather take it out of your savings? That's the answer that's probably best. Not that you want to do either. I don't want to do either. And I haven't been. And I don't want to. And I won't. But if you were going to take one out, now each case is individual. I'm not your financial planner. But you would more than likely take it out of your savings account rather than your retirement. Because let's think that through. Savings sometimes is just called rainy day money for you. Or money that you put away, your own money. Why not use it? If you need it, that's what it's there for. But your retirement planning, that stuff is invested in other programs and plannings, investments in, you'll just, it's like taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back if you do that. So each case is different. Do whatever you have to do to keep your ship going, but stay out of those retirement funds for sure. Now, last case scenario, rather than go to the retirement funds, head down to your trusty banker. Head down to anything like that. That's what they're in business for. Yes, they charge interest, and yes, they'll make money, but it sure beats, in the long run, raiding your retirement fund. Well, let's see. I want to bring this up to history. This is kind of important. My great-great-grandfather, who's buried in the Tiffin Cemetery, Philip Brandstatter, I've done some research on him, and he fought in the Mexican-American War. So I saw this morning. It said on this day in 1846, when he was around here doing stuff, the United States declared war on old Mexico. And what was going on in 1840s? Remember now the Alamo. This is Rex's history lesson here, by golly, right off the top of my head here. Once I read that. So President Polk, that's in 1845 and 1846. That's who was president. The United States declared war on Mexico. They had been coming across the Rio Grande River. Get this. And fighting and still fighting and beating up the Texas down there, all right? And, of course, the Alamo was 1836, 1837, so these problems weren't going away. So finally, the United States had it. Now, we were in the middle of negotiations with Texas because on the statehood and other things with that, and Mexico just kept plugging away. So we declared war, and that's where my great-great-grandfather came in. He loaded up and flew down there on the back of a horse, no doubt, or walked. Think that through. Either rode a horse or he walked or rode in a covered wagon or something. That's the only way. There weren't any trains at that time down there for sure. So he served in the United States Army at that time, and we put a flag on his grave every year. And I bought him a brick down at the Johnson County Administration Building because he served the country, just as many of you who have had ancestors who did. Well, I kept remembering all this from history class. Not only did we go down there and beat the tar out of them, they never declared war on us, so they kind of knew something was wrong on their end of it. They didn't do that. So part of the negotiations then out of this thing was the United States of America ended up with the borderline from Mexico wanted from the San Luis River. We lowered that down to the Rio Grande, which is where it is today, and for $15 million we bought, we changed the borders, and we ended up getting a deed to New Mexico, Arizona, and California. So there you go. Now in retrospect, maybe California wasn't such a good deal for us. Just kidding. That's what happened. Just because the guys down in Old Mexico wouldn't leave us alone. It cost them Arizona and New Mexico and California we threw in some money for $15 million. Wow. There's your history lesson for today. Anyhow, that's the scoop. The other thing, hot news. This is hot news, like I said at the top of the show. Just this morning, the city of Coralville has announced that there will be a mayor's cleanup. For Coralville residents only, it will be a mayor's cleanup the week of June 1 through June 5. So the first week in June on your regular garbage day. And, of course, you know what can happen there. You put out not construction things, not tires, not old sheetrock, but maybe you've got the old things downstairs. They're not going to take very much any cardboard. You got to recycle that. So that's going to happen on your regular garbage day on the first week of June, the 1st through the 5th on your day. Now, Coralville also decided to go what they call quarantine. They're pretty nifty out there. They're sitting around City Hall. They're throwing decks of cards at wastebaskets is what they're doing. Hopefully not. They came up with quarantine, and what they're going to do is they're going to offer an extra garbage pickup on Friday, May the 15th. That's day after tomorrow. On Friday, the May 15th, if your regular pickup day is Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of the week, like for next week or this week, your regular day is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This Friday, put out your garbage, put your cart thing out there, carty thing, whatever they call it. Put that out there, and Coralville will pick it up. On Monday, next Monday, if your regular pickup is Thursday, which that's the Brandstatter, that's our special day. That's when our garbage is picked up. So on Monday, we can put out an extra garbage can and recycling thing. So there you go. Coralville is big into the garbage business, and away we go. This is only for the city of Coralville. Other towns around Johnson County, I don't know what they do. Hopefully they have some plans. I can tell you this, lots and lots of people have been home with nothing to do except round up garbage, and I know this is a fact that I've had two or three calls, believe it or not, on when will the dump open, Rex? Well, I'm just told you it's going to open next Monday, the 18th. So if you've got stuff riding around in your car, in your garage, but you don't know what to do with it, there you go. That's the big news. Now, the other hot news is, of course, an hour ago, the governor of Iowa announced that the massage parlors and in all counties of Iowa, the remaining counties of Iowa, massage parlors and restaurants, taverns, barbershops, salons can open up this Friday, as long as they stay within the guidelines of the ruling. And the owner-operators of those companies will have all that figured out when you get there. So you're going to go down there and get a root beer at your favorite place. When you get there, you might not be able to maybe sit every other table or every other stool or something like that. We're going to go with that. It beats not going there, in my opinion. So away we go, coming back safely, we hope. All right, that's kind of what's happening here. I want to talk to you about some forgotten expenses of retirement planning. But last week I mentioned that I wanted to talk. I've been thinking about transportation a little bit, so I've talked to some people within the last couple of weeks about the Interurban. Now, the Interurban. So let's talk about that. And if I have too much time on my hands, which it never happens, we'll talk about the forgotten expenses of retirement planning, which is probably more apropos. But I kind of want to talk about this transportation thing. A couple of things bothering me. And when things bother me, I have to get it off my chest and bring it here. Well, one thing that bothered me, I was at a stoplight the other day, and 3 CAM buses went by. I was at the light, 2 one way and the 1 going the other way, and there was nobody on any of them. Not one person, not one student. Hey, school's closed. The university has no students here except for those online. And so there's nobody on campus. Now, there are staff and faculty on campus, but there was nobody on these buses. Well, that was as I headed into Iowa City downtown, and when I turned around and came back, I noticed several of them. Of course, they stopped down at the Pentecrest. I saw the driver get in. I saw 2 people get in one bus. That's the whole thing. So while I am a taxpayer, don't mean that way, but I'm not a student at the university anymore. But I'm just, I don't run CAM bus. None of my darn business, I guess. But they seem to be running a lot of buses with nobody on them. And I just want to know that's gas and wear and tear on the machinery, and the drivers are getting paid. And maybe that's why they're doing it, to keep the drivers going. I don't know. I should shut up. But I can't. I'm just thinking it's a pretty job. The other one, I'm sitting at a stoplight this morning at about 7:30. And I see the I-380 bus going up, getting on 380 in Coralville. There's the driver in the big giant bus and nobody on it. Now you can see the windows as the light goes around, as they go around the corner. There was nobody on the bus. Well, yesterday, day before, I saw a bus heading into Coralville with the driver at a stoplight, and nobody was on it. So I went down to the stop in Coralville, one of the stop in Coralville, and the guy pulled up, driver pulled up, he got out, sat there for a couple minutes, and nobody got on. Away he went. I don't suppose, you have to keep some normalcy going on all of these things, but I'm just going to not say much more, but I just think maybe, what the heck, maybe you figure it out. I'll let you take it from there. All right. Well, I was reading recently, and some people have been commenting recently online about the Interurban. And for you, those of you who don't know, the Interurban was a part of the CRAND, C-R-A-N-D, Iowa City, which means Cedar Rapids and Iowa City. And it was Interurban, meant a train that went between urban areas. It went from Cedar Rapids to Iowa City and back there. And it got the okay to come to Coralville and Iowa City by a vote. The vote in Coralville was quite clear. And the whole town turned out for that when they applied, when the Alliant Energy, or whatever they were called then, Cedar Rapids Power or something, I suppose, they applied to come down here on the train with their, rather than just freight, but operate an Interurban. And it was the trolley went from downtown Iowa City out the east end of Burlington Street and up to Cedar Rapids, it was just a great service. And in Iowa City, when it got down here, the Iowa City Trolley Company then would run trolleys out, and they went clear out Burlington Street. They went out clear out to Rundle, and then turned up and went up Rundle, and because that's where some of the newer housing was. So next time you're on Rundle Street, if you want to drive out to Rundle Street, if you're on Lower Muscatine, or what is that, Burlington Muscatine, I guess, you want to turn and go up on Rundle Street, you'll see that there's a center section. And that was for the Interurban. It's one of the places you can still see it in Iowa City. And it kind of wove through downtown a little bit, not a lot, but it was on Clinton Street from first to Midwest One Bank, Iowa State Bank, maybe you still call it. It went south there in front, down a block, and turned to the right on College Street. So that's where it was. And then and when it turned around, went back, the main depot was at the east end of the Burlington Street Bridge. And I think there's a building still there. It was on the south side, east end of the Burlington Street Bridge on the south side, which is where the Crandic, earlier the Interurban depot was. And Coralville had a depot right in front of IRP restaurant. It wasn't much of a depot, trust me. And they had 2 work camps while they were building that. One of the work camps was at 10th Street and 12th Avenue area, and another one was about a little ways north of that, about 300 yards, and then there's one in North Liberty. The goal here was that traveling traffic ridership in the Cedar Rapids area came to Iowa City, maybe working at the university or other trade down here, and vice versa. People from Iowa City were more inclined to go shopping in the bigger community in Cedar Rapids, and it went to downtown Cedar Rapids, and then they had the Interurban service that went out to out First Avenue and went up, I think, Cottage Grove Place and different areas of Cedar Rapids. So it was a pretty darn thing. And I would tell you that when I wrote it, now the service started down here, and Coralville had the big vote. Got some facts and figures here. Iowa City and Coralville had a big referendum in 1903. 1903. All right. And the Coralville passed it 35-3. I mean, it was a knockout. 35-3. Yes, said the people. We want the Interurban. That was designed to haul freight and produce and milk and passengers. Now, I can tell you that as they came down from Cedar Rapids, they stopped in Swisher, they stopped in North Liberty, and they actually picked up milk cans, and they brought it down to Iowa City. All right. I can tell you with no reservation whatsoever that I know people who lived along 12th Avenue in Corville, and they got on it at one of the work camps. They rode it downtown, and they took the trolley out to, got as close as they could to City High. So it went out in that area out there. So every day they'd ride to downtown, and then they'd get out on the trolley, take it out towards the City High area. I'm not sure exactly where the tracks went. If they got any closer than Rundle and Burlington, I don't know. So it was a pretty good jaunt. It was a pretty good effort to get to school. And that would have been lined up for people maybe as far away out towards North Liberty as you could live and still go to Iowa City High School. I would also tell you that my dad rode it into Iowa City, and so did my aunts, his three sisters, and they got off at Burlington Street, and they sometime walked up to U-High, up the street behind the Union. So it was a main deal. When I was a kid, now here's the things like that. The first car it was electric, by the way, had overhead wires, which is true. I remember that. The first car came here on August the 9th in 1904. 1904, and it had a 2-hour headway, which means every 2 hours there'd be a train going the other way. And when I say train, it was a one car interurban type of thing, and there was a motorman running a subway or an L in Chicago. Later, they moved it down to 1 hour, so it was a pretty reliable service. And the peak year was in 1943. 1943, and they hauled back and forth, registered 445,324 passengers. 445,000. It was a big deal. Now remember, at that time there weren't a lot of people around. There just weren't people hanging on every corner, and they came to a stoplight, which there weren't any. There weren't many cars backed up like there are today, so there weren't many people around. So a lot of people did not have cars. So if you lived in Corville, you could walk down to the area of what we used to know as Kosher Store, which is right now our Power Restaurant area. You could get on the trolley. You could go to Cedar Rapids. You could get off at Oakdale. You could get off at North Liberty. You could take it right downtown Iowa City. Dependable, reliable, interurban service. And the fare was 10 cents. And the fare was 10 cents when I was a kid. And remember now, this service lasted until 1953. So I was a kid. I was just a little boy, and I was 4 or 5 years old, and I think I rode it 3 or 4 times. I do know that for sure. I know. And twice we rode it to Iowa City, and twice we rode it to Cedar Rapids, and the fare was 10 cents. And you just went about your business, and it went up through the Swisher area. If you go up through that area, you just follow it. It's the same trackage, ladies and gentlemen, that's here today. The same exact trackage. So now they have big studies on whether or not it would work and all things about it. And they say it won't work. They say it can't work. Well, I don't know the numbers or anything like that, and I'm not running one, so I'm not an investor. And I don't know how many people would take it from Iowa City to Cedar Rapids or vice versa, except this. I would think that it also goes out by the Veterans Memorial Stadium in Cedar Rapids where the Cedar Rapids Colonels play. I wish they were playing now. But the train or the interurban, any train can only go where the tracks go. So it became sort of inconvenient because as we got malls and things like that, the interurban didn't go there. So you were kind of limited where it would go. So I used to go to downtown Cedar Rapids for shopping and things like that. That's where it went. It came down to Iowa City, to downtown or to the hospital. That's where it went. All right. I'm thinking that they could, and I've seen plans. They won't admit it, but I've seen plans for parking lots in the North Liberty area, and you get on the new interurban, phase 2, and you take it, you ride it down to Burlington Street. If you go around West Lawn Curve on Highway 6, just east of the VA, you will see the biggest, largest walkway and glass enclosure thing you've ever seen. That was built with the trolley in mind. That was built with this man transit of the tracks in mind, so people, university employees, could get off right there. Now, they could get off downtown on Burlington Street if that were where it would go, and they could take a CAM bus. Now, to augment this service. Ha-ha! Boy, they should have hauled Rex in on this planning. I'm sure they don't need me because I'd already have it going. So while I don't know what the traffic would be, I'm saying that there is a need for it. I'm saying that there would be ridership from the North Liberty Swisher area instead of coming all the traffic into the UIHC area or maybe even to a football game. Another train, remember, we've got the Hawkeye train out on the old Rock Island Spine line that I think they could really do a lot of things with that. Now, I'm not a transit planner or anything like that. I just happen to know where the people are going. This I-380 bus is sort of an attempt to appease people who want to go between the two, and I don't know what the ridership has been. I would say to you that in the summer, when the weather was decent, I would think that they could have a trolley set up and they just test it out. It would be a novelty, so the ridership would probably be high. But, you know, it worked once, and the tracks are still there. They don't use the tracks very often, and it seems to me they could try something. How about a train from Cedar Rapids area, a train of some sort to come down for football fans rather than 380? They're going to make 380 wider because of the traffic. Why can't they do something with the tracks? Well, I can't answer that. I wish I knew. I'd be smarter than I am now. Well, for Christmas 6 or 7 years ago, I opened up a little present for my brother who would never, ever buys me anything. And of course, I don't buy him anything either. My brother, touche there. He got me, I didn't know what box, and it was a VHS tape. Now, I didn't have a VHS player anymore, but it was a VHS tape of 100 years of the Krandik. And it was put out by Atlanta Energy, and in there it was great footage and pictures of their cars, the Interurban. It actually showed they took movies from inside the Interurban, coming down to Iowa City, going back up through Coralville, and actually, if I recall, they're all in color. You're in Cedar Rapids, and you're going out towards the First Avenue, and you're going out towards Cottage Grove Place or wherever they went from there. In Iowa City, it showed them out. I think, if I recall, it showed them going out towards Rundle and through downtown. Well, it was very, very interesting. Now, I can't put my hands on it, so I'm going to go online and see if they've still got one and see if I can get that in a VHS tape, the VHS thing, and see if I can't, computer disc, whatever they're called. Not VHS, but the CD. How's that sound? I'm not too high-tech. I'll see if I can't get that. I'm just interested in that, in the history of it, and B, the logistics of it, and see how useful that it was. So if you wrote it, you can talk about. Remember, now they had two things that they called it about. They called it the Vomit Comet. That was the local term for it. That was the locals called it the Vomit Comet, which may tell you something about the quality of the ride. That would be my take on that. All right, the Vomit Comet. No disrespect to them, but that's history. That's what they call it. We can't change that. And the other thing, their slogan apparently was to swing and sway the Krandik way. Swing and sway the Krandik way. Now, if you don't know where the Krandik tracks are, they would be behind Old Chicago on the Coralville Strip. They'd be behind, right in front of the IRP restaurant. They go across First Avenue. They go up there. They go up across 12th Avenue, up through Oakdale. They go from Oakdale up to North Liberty. The train crosses Highway 965 in North Liberty, just on the north end of North Liberty while you're there, and it runs on your left all the way up through. It goes up through, then it disappears. It goes up through Swisher there and comes in on the southwest side of Cedar Rapids to their big train yard up there and goes out into their Krandik yards and goes out they could let you off right at the Cedar Rapids Colonel's Ballpark. Where it goes from there, I don't really know, but anyhow, they have a switch. As you get up there, they can take it to downtown, all kinds of things. I am an advocate for that. Well, a few years ago, let me unveil the big secret here right now. A few years ago, I offered a clandestine meeting in City Hall, Coralville. Coralville was hell-bent for election. They still are, but it's under wraps. But we just decided that if the Amtrak was going to come to Iowa, that we wanted them to stop in Coralville. Now, much to the chagrin of Iowa City, we never told them what we're up to, and we're not going to say much now, but we lobbied long and hard with Amtrak to get them to stop in Coralville, and they said, well, we're only going to stop one place. So we put together a package for them in what we called the Coralville Underground Railroad. Pretty nifty, huh? We called it the Coralville Underground Railroad, which is still a semi-active committee, and we want that Amtrak to come to Coralville. As you know, the state of Iowa, that tracks go to the same place too. Those tracks are down in southern Iowa where there are no people, and the Amtrak train should run through central Iowa, right through Iowa City, Des Moines, Quad Cities. That's where the ridership is, for God's sake, not down in southern Iowa, and I'm not picking on those towns either. They got a good thing going. So that's where the ridership is. So you can see I'm a transportation planner at heart. And we put together a nice package that we submitted to Amtrak, which we did raise some eyebrows. And we're willing to stand on that package a little bit now, even after these a few years here. But the state of Iowa came up and said, this is a budget thing. Where are we going to get the money to maintain this thing? Things like that. And I understand that. That's a big deal. So if we built an Amtrak through here, then we, the taxpayers, have to pay to upgrade the tracks or take care of the tracks. And I don't know if we're doing that now. I don't know if that's a private line, I assume, and the government's not involved. Although the government does run Amtrak, for God's sakes. The only way they can keep in business, they go broke. So all these things, I'm going to be a transportation planner for one time. That's today. I'm not going to do it anymore, but I am willing to talk trains, if you want to call it. And I am a proponent for bringing back the Interurban, as it was called. I can tell you that my family took it from Coralville to Iowa City to go to high school, and they depended on it. And I think there could be a lot of ridership. I can tell you that a lot of people back in the day walked from their homes on 5th Avenue, 6th Avenue, 7th Avenue, along in there. Those streets all had names on them, by the way. They walked down there, got on the Interurban, and went to Cedar Rapids. They went to Oakdale. They went to Iowa City. So it could cut down on traffic, and we'll see. Who would operate? I don't know. I haven't gotten that far in my thinking. It seems to me that whoever owns the railroad, that'd be the Lion. They could do a great job. Well, so listen to me ramble here today. Don't forget, we can get back some of their business. We're going to be back in business on Friday in a limited fashion, but they're going to be open, ladies and gentlemen. So pick out where you need to go, you couldn't go, and get in line behind me at the barbershop. More than likely, each barbershop, I think some of the rules are you probably have to have an appointment because there won't be any chairs waiting, so you're not going to want to stand around and get yourself an appointment, and there's nothing wrong with that. Probably the same with the hair salons. They're farther down the road on that than the men's barbershops for the most part. I'm thinking that's a thumbs up from here, but with the thumbs up and everybody maybe wanting to do something different, just take care of yourselves, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do. You all know what to do. And for being a senior, look out for each other and take care. Don't answer the phone. Don't get anybody any of your information for sure. So I'll be working on things. This is the last you'll hear about transportation for me for a week maybe. Thanks for listening for Senior Talk. We'll see you next time. So long.
Are you retiring and don't know where to go?